Hey guys, I'm Ashton Morgan, and this is Yoyo-ing 101. Okay, before I get started, let me just give you a rundown of what's going to happen. First, we're going to have the yo-yos, some of the inner workings, the different types, and what kind of differences in playstyle that leads to. And then we'll have, I'll be telling you about some of the accessories that go with the yo-yos, what you'll need for maintenance and stuff. Okay, after that, I'll teach you how to lengthen your string for the right type of yo-yo you have, okay? And then I'll be talking about the throw, the very fundamental building block of all your yo-yoing, okay? After that, we'll be going into some tricks, and then I'll be ending the video with some closing words. Stick around to the end to see some recommendations on what yo-yos you can start with. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the inner workings of a yo-yo and some of the differences you'll see there. So first off, yo-yos are comprised of two halves. Most of them unscrew, however, there's a few, like old Duncan Imperials, okay? Those have been around for ages. So, first thing you're probably going to notice is this silver piece here, okay? It is a ball bearing. There is, most of the time, a bearing shield which covers this up here. There's some that don't have those, like a concave bearing, which if you look at the side, you can see how this shape, this is center track bearing. If you look at the side, you can see how there is a little dip there. This is very similar to a concave bearing. However, a concave bearing is a smoother slope rather than that sharp dip. And like the one concave bearing I have doesn't have a bearing shield, okay? But the purpose of the bearing shield is to keep all the stainless steel balls safe from like sand and dirt and stuff, okay? This particular ball bearing has ceramic balls rather than stainless steel, okay? The balls sit in between two rings, the inner race and the outer race. Those are the two rings of the ball bearing, and then in between those are all the what is typically stainless steel balls, okay? And if you listen, you can hear it spin. Okay? So that's one piece to it. The other piece is the response system. This particular one has silicone response pads. Now, I see a lot of response pads, but there's also starbursts, okay? They are these little spikes here, okay? The purpose of any response system is to grab onto the string and help the yo-yo come back up. And the last piece is the axle. You've got two main types, fixed, where they don't unscrew, and types that unscrew. Some are just a bolt through the yo-yo. I have one that has like a bolt. I actually had to replace it. Okay, so I have some that unscrew too, but they come in different shape, lengths, and stuff, okay? Those are the three main pieces. Now, some don't have a bearing, like this has this plastic piece. This is the Yomega Fireball, and that plastic piece is a transaxle. I have one that has a wooden type thing that's like a transaxle, and you can see that even this axle is different. There's also some that have these in them. These are called spacers, okay? And the purpose is to put space in between the bearing and the yo-yo, okay? It actually makes the gap wider. One more thing you'll see is this little dip after the response system. That's called the bearing seat. Now we'll take a look at the outer workings of a yo-yo and the differences between them. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the differences between yo-yos and the differences that can lead to in play style. So first off, you're going to notice two differences in the main shape of your yo-yo. You're going to notice whether it's flared out like this in this W shape or butterfly, or whether it's curved in like this or imperial shape. That comes from old Duncan yo-yos, the imperial and the butterfly. Okay? Another difference you might see is these yo-yos, these great big ones, that's the main difference really, are called off-string. They're wider too. They're called off-string because they literally come off the string. That's why they're bigger, they're easier to catch. Then you're going to notice some differences between these types, okay? I can't really give you an example of the off-string because I don't have another one, but some of the differences between the other wing-shaped, the W-shaped ones, apply to the off-string yo-yos. But I don't have another off-string yo-yo, I just have the one. Okay, so you're going to notice three shapes of these butterfly-shaped yo-yos. There is organic, H, and V. Now, H and V the reason they're named that may stand out more, but organic is named so because it's very comfortable to hold. It moves a little slower at a more comfortable pace, okay? Now, H puts more of a focus on stability, okay? And it's called H because you can see it's literally shaped like an H, okay? Now, when I say more focus on stability, that means there's more weight around the rim, okay? That makes it have more stronger centrifugal force, okay? Which is what actually keeps it spinning and on track, right? This is a V-shaped yo-yo, and V-shaped yo-yos typically go faster. Now, even if it is technically H-shaped, it can be more to the V-shaped side or vice versa. There's little differences between them all, and these little differences in shape and weight distribution will make them feel different when you do tricks with them and throw them, okay? As your skills progress, you'll be able to notice this more, and it will really come down to personal preference, okay? Some put more focus on weight in the middle. That's a really unique design choice. Okay, but typically, that's pretty much the main differences in those shapes. When it comes to these curved-in yo-yos, these looping yo-yos, you can see how like some are flatter, some have more of a pronounced curve, some have more of a gap. Okay, and again, just all those little differences make differences in the way they feel, okay? Now, there's actually 5 styles of yo-yoing. It goes 1A through 5A. Okay, there's 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and 5A. One A is basic string tricks, typically done with these types of yo-yos, okay? I don't think I've really ever seen someone get up on stage and perform with one of these, perform string tricks with one of these. There are actually yo-yo contests, okay? That's what I mean when I say get up on stage and perform. 2A, or looping tricks, are typically done with these. I've seen some of the tricks done with the wider yo-yos. There's like flips. The wider yo-yos can help with that. But typically it's done with those, and typically it's done with 2, actually. 3A is more string tricks, but it's done with 2 yo-yos rather than just 1. 4A, I told you, is this off-string yo-yo, where it literally comes off the string. And then the last one is 5A, or freehand, where on the end of a string is attached this counterweight, okay? A counterweight like this. There's multiple different types. I'll get to that in a minute. And what that allows is the other end of the string to swing freely, hence the name freehand, and that opens up a lot of tricks. Alright, so now I'm going to show you what you'll need for yo-yo maintenance and some other accessories that might help you. Okay, so first off, for yo-yo maintenance, you're going to need, really, sometimes you'll have to replace the response pads and bearings, but really, what you really have to worry about is, 1, string, because it does wear down, it does break. Okay, so there's multiple different types of string. Typically, they're made with either polyester, cotton, or mix. There's exceptions. I've seen some made with Kevlar, which is what they use in bulletproof vests. Not entirely made out of Kevlar, in part Kevlar. Okay, but typically polyester, cotton, or a mix of both. I use a brand called Kitty String. It's fantastic. I like the regular fat Kitty String. There's multiple types of Kitty String, but I like that for all my string tricks. If I'm using a responsive yo-yo, which I did not mention earlier, responsive versus unresponsive. Responsive yo-yos will come back when you tug on them. Unresponsive do not, and that actually opens up the chance for a variety of different tricks, like slack tricks, where you pull it up and swing the string under or swing it around with the string going around. It opens up the opportunity for that stuff, and it helps it spin longer because typically in unresponsive yo-yos, there's a wider gap width, so the string's off the sides a little bit. Okay? So that's the difference there. But Kitty String is, I like it for my unresponsive, but it doesn't grip as well for responsive. It doesn't help there as much. Okay? The other thing you'll need is what's called yo-yo lube. There's two main types. I've seen multiple different types, but there's typically thin and thick. Thick is used for responsive, and thin is for unresponsive. Now, sometimes your yo-yos are so responsive that thin yo-yo lube will do just fine. But what you want to do with that is you want to put the for responsive yo-yos, you want to put it on the bearing seat. And unresponsive, when you're using the thin lube, it goes right in the bearing. You might want a little piece of paper to wipe off excess, or maybe some paper towel, because it doesn't take much at all. Okay? So that's main maintenance. Now, some other accessories you might want, like I said, are counterweights. This one that I have is the Yotrix Delwyn Ultra Weight. It's really cool. It's got a little plastic tube in there that sits in a bearing. See? What that does is that helps eliminate string tension, because this can spin without the string spinning with it. Okay? So that's really cool. Some have bearings in them like that. And there's more basic ones like this, where the string just goes through, ties around it. Okay? Well, loops around it. It doesn't really tie around it. You can undo the knot. And it just twists with the yo-yo string. They're not as nice. They work. And most freehand yo-yos do come with counterweights. Okay? But lots of different types. Play around with it. See what you like. One more thing is gloves. I just have these basic nylon yo-yo gloves. Their purpose is the string slides smoother over them. So if it's really hot, humid out, it will help the string slide easier over your fingers. You're not as likely to get string burn. Okay? And plus, it helps you do faster tricks. Okay? And that's basically it for the accessories and stuff. Next, we're moving on to how to size your string for your right height. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make your string the right length. First thing first, you're going to need to get it on there. So, what you do is, yo-yo strings are actually like two strings twisted together. So, you want to get a gap there in the string, and then you pull apart. Untwist, see, you get a loop. That loop goes over the yo-yo. Then slowly let it twist back together, okay? Now then, people like their strings different lengths, and different lengths work for different kinds of yo-yoing. But typically when you start off, what you want to do is set the yo-yo on the ground, okay? Then you want your string about as long as your belly button, okay? Up to your belly button, so find your belly button, and then fold the string over your finger, okay? And then, what you're going to do is once you've got that folded, you're going to tie a loop knot. So, around your finger, as if you were tying a balloon. Around your finger, okay? Then fold it back through the loop. I'm having a little troubles today with it. Okay, back through the loop. And then you're gonna want to pull tight. But make sure you don't have the loop too big, otherwise it's going to slip and slide all over your finger. Okay? We're going to make a slip knot out of that knot here in a second. But you don't want this loop to be too big, okay? Then you're going to take scissors, or I use my string cutter to cut this off. And then what you do after you have that cut off is you fold this back over onto the string, and then you take this string through this, and you have a loop knot. Not a loop knot, sorry, a slip knot. See? I forgot to mention, you guys, keep in mind when I tell you about the length of the string and stuff, this is a general rule. There are exceptions. With the length of the string, it comes down to personal preference. I personally like mine for my string tricks to be a little longer. There are, like I said, different styles require different lengths. Looping, typically people who are in contests for looping and 2A, they like their strings a little shorter typically because then you can get those faster loops. Okay, so it just depends on the style. They can be different, keep that in mind. When it comes to throw, you're actually going to want to put the string on your finger a certain way. So what you do is you take whatever hand is dominant, whatever hand you write with, and you want to put the string on your middle finger, okay? Put the string so that the double string, see, that's that knot that you tied, and then the single string is right there. The double strings, though, face your ring finger, okay? And then, what you're going to do is make sure that the string goes over the top of the yo-yo, okay? Because if it's under it, it's not going to roll off right. So watch when I throw it, okay? Watch. Sorry, that messed up. Okay, so when you throw it and you have it all set up right, it'll make sure everything rolls off smoothly, okay? You don't have any hitches, you don't have it sticking on the string, or you don't have it, getting caught on the string. You make sure that everything rolls off fine. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring your arm up, like you can even touch your shoulder. You can make this very dramatic. You can bring your elbow way high up if it helps. Even still when I'm trying to get a lot of power in my throw, I will be very dramatic about it, okay? So like make a big strong muscle motion like you're flexing your biceps or whatever, and then throw it, keeping your hand upside down, okay? And then give it a tug and it'll come back right back, okay? I have seen a lot of people throw it and then turn their hand over too soon, and what happens is that makes it have a little bit of a tilt, or even makes it spin out of control tilted. So if you're having that problem, one thing you can do to fix it is leave your hand upside down for an extended period. Overdo it a little bit with the upside down hand. And if you find that it's coming right back up to your hand, what you want to do is have a little swinging motion. Okay, that'll help, okay? So that is the throw. That's the very fundamental building block of all yo-yoing. You want to make sure to get that down before you continue on to much else. Now, there are a couple tricks that you can do. I'll be moving into those next without the yo-yo spinning. Okay, so the first trick I'm going to teach you guys is called Robin Hood. It does require the yo-yo spinning, but it's an easy one to get you started, okay? What you're going to do is throw the yo-yo, make sure it's spinning good. Then you're going to spread your fingers like that. And you're going to pull the string through like a bow and arrow, and all you do after that is let it go, and the yo-yo will come right back to your hand. Okay, so that's the first trick. The next trick I'm going to teach you is called Rock the Baby. A lot of people learn this at the beginning. It's in a category called picture tricks. Robin Hood would also fall into that category. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you can learn this yo-yo this trick without the yo-yo spinning. Okay, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your non-throw hand. Okay. Put it about somewhere halfway down the string, grab the string, okay? Then you're going to fold your throw hand over and pinch right above the yo-yo there, okay? And then you're going to fold the other hand down, spreading out your fingers, creating this cradle, and then you can rock the yo-yo through. That's Rock the Baby. Now, if you do have the yo-yo spinning, what you can do is... Oh. Came back before I expected it. What you can do is just toss it out and it'll come back right back, okay? And now this next one is another picture trick. You can just have the yo-yo not spinning, okay? It's called Jamaican flag, and what you're going to do is take maybe a quarter of the string, quarter way down, grab the string, okay? Bring it up. You're going to do the same thing with your other hand, okay? Creating this triangle. Now what you're going to do is you're going to twist. Well, not twist. You're going to do the same thing again you did at first. You're going to grab the string again, okay? Then you've got an X there. The last thing you're going to do is take just your pinky to create a border, and then you can get this flag shape, okay? And again, with the spinning, that looks like this. See, that's when I talk about unresponsive and responsive, this is actually a really good example. I typically work with unresponsive yo-yos, so I'm kind of having this trouble right now where it keeps coming up before I want it to. I don't typically work with responsive yo-yos. That's the Jamaican flag. Hey guys, before I finish up here, let me tell you about a couple of yo-yos that can get you started. There's a few options. One is an auto-return yo-yo called the Yomega Brain, okay? And while it is an auto-return, it still will spin at the bottom of the string for a length of time because it's got this really cool system called the clutch system that will allow it to spin, okay? If you actually take a look at the sides of this yo-yo, you'll be able to see it, okay? Another option, well, before I continue on, the Yomega Brain is also another great option because it doesn't require any yo-yo lube because it doesn't have a ball bearing in it. Now you still got to replace your strings and stuff, but yeah, that's an option. Another thing about it is rather than just putting the string around once, let's see if I can get this off here. Oh yeah, this is how you take the string off. You untwist, you spin counterclockwise. I think this must have a knot in it. Let me, this might have a knot in it. No, it's not. It's being difficult. Hold on, give me a second. Bear with me here. There. Sorry about that. It was kind of stuck together. Okay, so you spin counterclockwise, and that untwists it, and then it comes off like that. But with the brain, you have to, rather than just putting it on like that, twist and put it on again, okay? Because it won't come back automatically if you don't do that. Okay, so that's one thing to know about the brain. Another option is called the Hubstack yo-yo, which has these things on the side that spin separately of the yo-yo, so you can actually grab it by those and pull the string, and you can get it spinning like that. So that's a really cool option if you're just starting out, getting thrown everything down. The brain is a curved in yo-yo, like it's a looping yo-yo, okay? And the Hubstacks is flared out. So depending on what kind of tricks you want to do, you can choose based on that. If you think that you want to get a good yo-yo that can get you started on everything, there is this yo-yo called the Fizz. It's similar to another yo-yo in that it has what is called fully active starburst. So it's got those little spikes, but they actually push in a little bit, and that's really cool. So that's a good starting point, okay? Link will be in the description for some of those, okay? Another option is the Oracle, which I actually have here, okay? And it's curved in. It's good for those looping tricks. Or the Sage is I don't personally have it, but I've heard that's supposed to be really, really good. I've had a friend who has it. It's had a little bit of trouble with it not being responsive, but those problems can typically be fixed if you replace the response pads or put some of the thick yo-yo lube in there. That will typically solve it. So the Sage and the Oracle are both good starting points if you think you want to learn the throw and go further with it. The Sage can actually be made to be unresponsive. You just have to swap the bearing out. Another good option, there is this yo-yo called the Replay. I have the Replay Pro, which they're exactly the same. One is just responsive, the other's unresponsive. They're low price point. They're amazing. Gentry Stein actually won nationals in 2015 with the Replay Pro. So you can't go wrong with this. This is a great starting point if you want to learn. Doesn't have much as far as helping you out with your throw. It is responsive, so you still have to learn that throw. But if you want something that's auto-return, get the Brain. The Hubstack, you can get spinning without actually throwing it. The Fizz has those fully active starbursts. Those are really responsive. They're supposed to be. I've never had them. The Sage is a good one. The Oracle's great. And then the Replay is the responsive one, not the Replay Pro. You can change out the bearing, I believe, to make it unresponsive, and once you get to that point, the same with the Sage. So those are just a few options. Link for all those, like I said, will be down in the description. Alright, so that's all I have to say as far as yo-yoing. Have fun. If you like this video and want to see more like it, hit that subscription button for me. And if you know anyone else that would benefit from this video or would like to learn, share it with them. Alright? See you in the next video.